Yo, what's going on? This is probably the most random live that I'm ever going to talk about, but I was just happened to sit down and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk a little bit about one, because somebody mentioned it in the comments. I bought a movie pass and they wanted to know, was it worth it? And I said, I also wanted to talk about inflation. Is late as hell. So I know I'm probably going to have nobody watching that, but it's all good. I'm Marcus, a licensed attorney. A Giving my opinion and takes on financial topics and current events, attorney reactions, and we're also following my family's journey to financial freedom as we are on the verge of becoming first generation millionaires. Hey, I appreciate everybody who tuned in, and for all my subscribers out there, y'all are appreciated as well. Now, this video is going to be a little bit random, it's going to be a little bit different. First, I'm gonna talk about the first thing on my mind because it's new and someone had left this in the comments. So it is not a spoiler per se, but I wanted to talk about Wakanda Forever. Now we gotta put a little caveat in this entire discussion so we can get some full context. Remember, this isn't legal advice or financial advice. I'm just letting y'all know what we got going on over here. Hey, if you need a professional, seek a professional in your local geographic area because I'm not your attorney. Okay, now that I got that out the way for the Bar Association, first things first, let's talk about the movie Wakanda Forever and this movie pass I got. Now, the third week in October, the middle of the third week in October, I had a bright idea to purchase a movie pass. This movie pass was for an Alamo Draft House Theater. I don't know if y'all have Alamo Draft House theaters, but essentially these theaters are the theaters where you go to and they got a menu and you hit a button and a waiter come out and you give them your card. Hey, what's going on? How are you? I appreciate you tuning in. That's my homie Aaron. She's so intellectual. I gotta have you on the show one day. We gotta find something collectively we could talk about. Preferably how you trick your husband into marriage according to him. That was from one of your videos. I'm just picking with you. But a few weeks ago, yeah, the third week of October, I purchased this movie pass for this high speed theater. Right now, keep in mind if I buy a regular movie ticket, it's going to cost me about $20. So this pass was $29.99, $30 a month. If you get a second ticket, it's $25. So I purchased two tickets. I knew it was no way I can get my family afford to a movie, but I can't get them there consistently to get the value if I would have got four tickets. But two people, that's funny. April Fool's Day. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I know you. I saw that video and I was like, yeah, you had that brother going through all those years of courting before you finally broke down. And so I purchased two tickets. I spent $55 for two movie tickets that allows me to go to the movie to see whatever the hell I want once a day, one movie a day, only at that location. And so someone in the comments had wrote like, "Hey, let me know if that's worth it." Bottom line, yes, I purchased that in the third week of October, and just in the month of October alone, I saw three movies. So if I would have bought those tickets, that would have been, let's see, 40, 80. It would have been it'd have been about $120 to go to the three movies for those tickets that I purchased. So it actually ended up working itself out. And I saw one movie today. Now, I will tell you the catch is when you go there, you're going to be sitting there watching a movie and you're going to get thirsty or you're going to want something to eat. So when I go to the movie, it's cool because I eat something before I go. I'm just like that. I eat something before I go. And the only thing I may buy is a drink or something because so I can have something to wet my palate. Now when my son goes with me, he always got to buy something. But the benefit is this dude got his own money, so he could buy his own stuff. So it ends up working itself out from a mathematical standpoint. Now let's transition. So the bottom line is so far the $29.99 or the $55 I'm spending a month for these two unlimited movie passes have yielded their value. That's first and foremost. Now, second is the whole Wakanda Forever movie. Now, let's put this into context. I probably was the last black man on the planet to actually see the original Black Panther because I just couldn't. I don't know. I don't. I can't wrap my mind around why everybody was excited for it. I get it, black director, black cast. I get all of that stuff, but like I wasn't buying a dashiki and going to wear a dashiki or my homeland Nigerian garbs to a movie. So I was probably the last black person on the planet to go see the movie Black Panther in 2018 when it came out. I probably saw it. It was like 2019, late 2019. So I was like, okay, I got these passes, and it was dope because they let you see it early. You can see the movie early because it actually don't come out until tomorrow. Nah, pause. Nah, you know you're in a movie and you like you watching the movie, getting excited. Like I, I'm not a. I don't need food, but I tend to get thirsty. Like even I don't know if it's because I got older or what, but like even now when I go to bed, I keep like a bottle of water by the bed because I just wake up randomly at night and I'm thirsty. I feel like I always got to be hydrated. So the one thing that I will get got for is a beverage, and it's unlimited. It's like $6.50 because I get like lemonade or tea or something because I haven't drunk soda in like 2 months. So that's just kind of a thing. But being that I was the last black person on the planet to see the movie Black Panther, I had these passes. They let you see it early before it dropped. I said I'm gonna go check out this movie. Oh, oh man, hey, I appreciate you watching the ads, man. And like, hey, if you watch it until the skip comes up and skip it, I don't hold that against nobody. I can't stand ads, so I just paid for their YouTube premium. I feel like I was missing vital information. Well, he let me know when you on when he get in here, man. Like I was talking about something real in depth, some real pertinent financial information, and he just missed the whole thing. I'll be like, go back and watch it. He go see I was talking about any damn thing. So I got the passes. I get to go see the movie before it premieres. Me and my son are there. We tuned in. We get there like 30 minutes early. And I'm gonna give the movie a C minus. I think it was a C minus. I don't think it was that great of a movie. I understand there was gonna be a lot of holes in the movie because the main character, the actor portraying the main character died. So because the actor portraying the main character died, I already knew it was going to be weird or kind of corny in how they explained that whole situation. I knew I wasn't going to get a complete story there. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hold that against them. But oh, see, damn it! I was just talking about you before you came in. I was going to act like I was talking about some real deal high speed stuff, so you could feel like you missed out. And I'm in here just babbling about movies, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about inflation. So there was immediately there was holes in the stories. I don't know, Leroy don't know. I know I'm so disappointed in his knowledge of or his lack of knowledge in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and superheroes, but I won't hold that against him. That's still my ace. And so we aren't going to get a good explanation because the main character died. I was fine with that, but the villain got like an F. I feel like the villain in this movie got an F, and I feel like in any movie, like the antagonist and the protagonist have to be strong. The villain in this movie, I gave an F2, and the fighting scenes in this movie were like it was like the worst Marvel fighting scenes that I ever seen. I mean, graphically, it looked amazing, but I just thought it was kind of trash personally. And I honestly don't want to go see it again. Now, that being said, the DC comic movie that had The Rock in it, Black Adam, I saw that twice last month because it was that good. I don't want to see Wakanda Forever twice again. I was like, hey, I saw it once. It was cool. So I'm not going to go too far into it and spoil it, but it was a C, C minus. It wasn't nothing where, like, apparently, I guess I saw on the internet, people are wearing all white to this movie. Like, why do we do this? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like the as I feel like Dr. King and our forefathers would be really upset at the way we at how we decide to support certain things. I feel like I don't know, like a movie like Emmett Till should be a movie that should garner actually more support because it's an important story. And Emmett Till happened years ago, and in 2022 they just passed a federal act to make lynching a federal crime. complete nexus, that should be the big story that everybody talking about. But hey, when you got superheroes and the cinematic universe and the $500,000 budget, nobody care about historical shit except for historical geeks, except for historical geeks like me. It's funny because when we're in there watching the preview for the movie, they show old ass comic movies, and I don't know. I mean, y'all may remember this because I'm 41. Y'all may remember this, but I can remember as a kid being pressed to get home so I could watch Batman. And I saw that Batman appear on the screen one day, and I was like, God, that shit was terrible. I used to like that as a kid. Like this dude would get, it was so terrible. Like this dude would get caught up. Batman would get caught up, and he would have this great utility belt, and it showed off. I mean, like the quality of shit that kids watch now is amazing compared to the trash that we used to watch. But yeah, I'm a historical person, so I like movies that have a historical context. So, like when me and my wife went to go see the movie Till, I was like, yes, this is a good movie. And I'm gonna tell you honestly, I'm not a big 50 years a slave and all that slave shit. I don't really like watching all those movies. One, because I study it, so I know all the history behind it. So very rarely do I go see movies like that. I'm just kind of like, they don't really tickle my fancy because I know the story behind it. But the movie Till was a good movie because, like I said, just this year they made lynching a federal crime, and all that was because of what happened with the Emmett Till situation. So that nexus that I thought was dope. That was a movie where I was like, okay, I'll see it. And I think it was another movie I saw, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was really unique. It told the story of slavery, but not from the United States perspective. It told the story of slavery from the perspective of the slaves when they had the North was fighting the South, and the slaves who fought for the no, not before the North fighting the South. The slaves who fought for the colonies over in Europe, and it told the story of what happened to them when they went back to Europe. I thought that was dope because that was a different perspective that people don't teach about. But normally, I'm not those type of movies. But if it has a historical nexus, I feel like those are the movies we should be gearing up to go see. Nothing against Black Panther and Marvel and hey, if y'all want to do the Wakanda Forever thing, but I'm not putting on a dashiki of all white to go see a fucking comic movie because it's just not that serious for me. That's just kind of my take on it. And so, it is quite interesting. So that's my take on it. It was a C minus movie. I wouldn't recommend speeding to a theater. You can wait till it die down till it's not as crowded to go see it. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about inflation because the CPI data came out today, and of course, when the CPI data came out, the stock market was green. I don't even know if it closed green because I didn't check. It probably did close green on the day, but it was green because the CPI data was lower than expected. Inflation went down. It was like 7.7%. I think last month it was 8.7%. Historically, if you don't know this, anytime that CPI data comes out, the government tends to kind of lower it for just cause. So if they're reporting 7, it probably was 8 point something. If they're reporting 8, it probably was 9 point something. But I'm gonna be honest, even at 7 point something percent, we aren't going to see any impact. The only benefit that we're going to see from inflation data being lower this month is a jump in the market. I think that the market is going to kind of have an end of the year rally. And this is just my opinion. But I mean, let's think about this. Institutional investors make up 70% of investments in the market. So, people like me and you, we only make up for 30% of the investments in the market. 70% of it are institutions like BlackRock, who controls billions of dollars worth of assets. And I personally think that before that market pullback happened, and we already been seeing it, if I control 70% of the market, I would be like, you know what? Let's put things in the position. Let's put things in the place to have a rally at the end of the year so we can take some profits out right before the market kind of pulls back, which I think is going to do at the beginning of the year. So let's see, 8.2. Yeah, the numbers are fudge. I was gonna do a video on it, but yeah, it's data out there that shows and Jerome Powell and all these people talk about how when these numbers come out, they normally are actually higher than what's being reported. But I think those lower numbers, I wouldn't be shocked if this month when Jerome Powell comes out to talk, I would be shocked if they raise interest rates another 75 basis points or three-fourths of a percentage point. I think they're gonna maybe raise it, 25 basis point, a quarter of a point. And the reason they're gonna do that is because they want to have a nice little market rally before the end of the year. So the top 10% of guys with those financial institutions can kind of pull out profits. Because I mean, that's what I would do. If I control 70% of the market, I would be like, man, let's get a nice little market rally before the end of the year so we could take out some profits because we just been buying in on things been low. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, and that's probably true. I could definitely see that happening. Hey, I want y'all to see something, and a lot of y'all, if y'all are like '80s babies like me, I had a weird conversation with my son. I don't know why, and I don't know if y'all have dumbass conversations with y'all kids, but I was talking about old ass commercials for old ass toys, and I'm gonna pull one up. But I saw this, and when I saw it, I thought, man, we were conditioned to be in a capitalistic society and enslaved by debt from the time we were this damn tall. From the time we were the same height, like 4 or 5 years old, we were conditioned to be consumers. And I know y'all probably thinking like, "Oh man, this dude tripping," but no, I went back and I don't know how we got on the topic. We started talking about old ass board games, right? And I don't know if y'all remember old ass board games like Hungry Hippo. Like these are probably some old ass games, and if you're young, you're probably like this old ass dude over here talking about games we never heard of. But games like Hungry Hippo and the Game of Life. It was another game I saw. There was some shopping ass game, and I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up the commercial. But those games were all designed to get us in a consumer consumption debt mentality. Now, of course, I didn't think about this because I was a little kid and I know I just wanted to play the damn game. Let me see. I lie to you not. I called my homeboy. And see, I got it. It popped up immediately. It popped up immediately because I was watching it, so it was in my history. But I was telling my homeboy, but I was like, "Dog, I watched the commercial for the Game of Life. Yo, we've been conditioned from the jump to be consumers and to be a debt." The commercial, it was like, buy a car, graduate from college. One dude went bankrupt and his car disappeared. And I was like, this is like real life. And so my boy had me rolling. He said that he was playing the Game of Life. He said, I never played it. I played it as an adult. He's like, we was playing the Game of Life, and it was so damn funny because one of the girls we was playing with, she went to college and did things the right way, and she had all this debt, and I graduated straight from high school and got a job, and I was all successful with this big ass retirement account. And he's like, one guy just kept rolling the dice and just kept ending up in jail. I was like, yeah, that sounds terrible, but hey, unfortunately, that's kind of how life happens. But I saw that commercial. Oh my god. Is a man that game is the most conditioned game. When I saw that commercial, I'm about to pull it up. Let me see if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can share this screen. But y'all gonna watch this commercial and be like, this commercial is the most ridiculous shit I ever seen in my life. Okay, now I'm showing my age by showing this commercial. Now, this first commercial is from the 60s. I don't remember this shit. I don't remember the commercial from the 60s, but the first commercial is from the 60s. The second commercial is the 80s. Then they got a commercial from the 90s. I remember the 80s and 90s commercial, but just watch these commercials and just look at how it's tailored towards capitalism, consumption, and a debt nexus. We've been brainwashed from the jump. During recess, it would rain. And I remember people would be over there playing the Game of Life and all sorts of shit. I never played that stuff because I was a knucklehead. But it's all it was a conditioning mechanism. This is terrible. The little girl said, I went to the poorhouse. This is crazy. It's a revenge card. This is crazy. The, the 80s commercial is by far worse. This shit is absurd. Why didn't I buy insurance? Let me see. This is the one I remember. This is the one I remember right here. See, that show all good shit. Let me see. It was one where they had like bad shit happening to them. Let me see. It was it this one where this guy go bankrupt and lose his car? This is crazy as hell. But these games were all designed to condition our asses at a young age to think a certain way and to act a certain way. It's actually fucking genius if you think about it. I'm gonna be honest, like, yo, low key, it's actually genius to, hey, let's have these little clowns start playing these games so they can learn to assimilate. YouTube gonna cancel this video, but it's crazy that those are the damn games, man. We was talking about this, and it was just all designed to, like, okay, you go through the structured path of you graduate, you maybe get a job, you go to college. Yeah, the dude who got twins, he probably was the same fool who lost his damn car. But that wasn't the only game though. I found another game. It was another game, and this was a game. I don't know. It was a game for girls, and I can't think of it. But the whole premise of the game was to go shopping in a mall with a credit card. I don't know if y'all ever even heard of it, or thought of that game before, but it was a game and it was solely geared towards little girls. And the purpose of the game and the commercial, you have a credit card and you had to buy everything in the mall with your credit card. I was like, this game is terrible. This is a fucking terrible game. But people was just like those same crazy ass concepts of little ass girls and people swiping up cards in the games. They turned into adults and did the same shit. I know I did. So like it's crazy. Come on, send me the link to the game of life online and I play it. But I'm telling you right now, if I pull the wrong card and I get locked up or something, I'm gonna scream systematic racism because I don't want it to. I don't want, but that'd be dope. We should. That's what we should do. Let's go ahead. We go all play the game of life online and see how it pan out for everybody. My shit probably gonna be the same. I'm gonna go to school, get a bunch of student loan debt, and then spend years paying that shit off. And I'll be like, man, this shit is too much like real life. It's gonna be too much like real life. It ain't for the weak. It ain't for the weak at heart. Yeah, if you one of the lucky people who was lucky enough to win the lottery, but if you aren't one of those lucky people, you're gonna end up with twins, married, and divorced, and like the game of life suck ass. Like, I don't know. If I played that game as a kid, I'd be like, God damn, this is how life is. I don't know. This is kind of trash. But that's just it's crazy that those old ass games were all designed based on a capitalistic system, and you want to be like, hey, how can we make sure everybody know what the rules of the game of life are? I got it. Let's come out with a game called Game of Life. Let's come out with a game called Monopoly, and you got a bank, and the only people who win in Monopoly is whoever runs the bank. It's a crazy ass. It's a crazy ass. I don't know. It's a crazy ass concept. Yeah, man, you should go ahead and say we're gonna all play the game of life online. And if my life turns out worse than what it is now, I'm gonna be pissed off. If it turned out either way, it's gonna really suck. But like, I don't know. I can't imagine playing that game as a kid. Like as an adult, I can see how it's fun because if we play it online, I'm gonna be drinking. I'm gonna have a little something in my cup. I'd be like, twins, I don't want no twins. If I play the game of life, y'all gonna think I'm a bad person. Like, you got married? Nah, in the game of life, I want to be single. I want to be single and I want to win the lottery and be a movie star. I want my life in the game of life to be the complete opposite of what it is now. I want to be like a Hollywood guy and like, live a good life and party and just have a hard, rough life. But it's crazy. The whole point of it is that everything that we do from a financial standpoint, man, that shit is embedded and ingrained in us from the time that we can start to understand the concept of money or trading. Man, I trade you my fruit cup for your milk. That's crazy that the games we even played and the commercials we saw were all based on like capitalism and just kind of sculpting us to understand that shit. So, it's kind of wild, but that's kind of what it is. So I don't know from a money standpoint. I'm gonna jump off here, but hey, I got a dope show tomorrow, and I got some interesting statistics too. Because we're talking about fraud and money scams, and I think this falls on the list of a money scam. Because I was watching the news the other day, and it was this story, and I guess this is common. It was a story, and men and women are a little bit different, but I think this version of the scam I think women are more susceptible to. Now, there is a version that men are more susceptible to, and I'll talk about that later. But it was a lady on the news who met a guy on a dating app, and he ended up scamming her out of like six figures. Like, that's the craziest shit I ever heard. But that's a real thing. I didn't even think about it until I was watching the news last night and I saw that story. And I said, that's definitely a finance scam. Now, I think that version of it, I think women are more susceptible to that version of it. The version of romance, love scams that men fall for, it tends to fall in the OnlyFans category. So both sides do it. Both sides fall susceptible to it because at the end of the day, if you can scam people, it's like three or four ways that you can get people by their heartstrings to scam them. If it's anything dealing with love or relationships, people are probably going to be susceptible to getting taken advantage of. That's just kind of what it is because everybody, not everybody, but most people have this traditional view of a forever home with a spouse and a picket fence and two kids and a dog and all of that stuff. So people tend to fall for scams if it's a promise of love or someone they have feelings for and they just kind of gaming them and milking them. That's one. The other thing that I see, I think there's a red flag for scams is anytime someone talks about joining something or doing something to make money, whether it's a business or an investment, if they pull any of these cards, you try to run for the hill. If they pull the religious card, if they pull like the race card, if they pull any of those emotional cards, like, hey, as black people, we got to stick together. So this fund is going to be tailored for the black community. Like, that would send off sirens in my head. Or if someone came to me, and I've seen this, I've represented a guy who had a Ponzi scheme, and he was like, this investment is only for public service. So he stole millions, like $4 million from retired teachers, and they lost their life fucking savings. It was so disgusting. But he used it as like, hey, this is a Christian based investment, and it's top secret. And he pulled at those religious strings, and people jumped on it and was like, okay, well, oh man, I like this guy. I like what he talking. So he used religion as a way to get into people's pockets. So if it's anything dealing with love, romance, relationships, is people are going to be susceptible to get scammed. If it's anything that's pulling at your pro-black card, your religion card, where it's like, oh, this is something for us as a people so we could get ahead, that shit should bring off alarms in your head immediately. The other thing is insecurities is a way that people also get scammed as well. If you could feed off of someone's insecurities, that's another way or easy way for people to fall victim to a lot of scams. So it's kind of crazy, but I mean, this lady got hosed by a guy she met online for something like the game of life teaches you. That's right. Like, oh man, that can that happen to you in the game of life? Maybe in the online version, you could meet somebody on the app and they could take your retirement, then you just stuck. That'd be terrible. But yeah, so it's crazy. But those are the ones that just kind of every guys I defended who had Ponzi schemes, embezzled money. They always, especially with the Ponzi schemes, they always made it as some sophisticated thing that was very sophisticated, and it was only for a select group of individuals, and that select group of individuals, they normally like to play the religion card. It was another one I saw. I don't know if you ever heard of this scam, but this was a low life too. Like this dude, it was a black guy who went around to various churches, and he this is what I don't like. I like scams that are complicated and they can logically make sense. This scam didn't make any sense. He would go to churches, build relationships up in these churches, and he told them that he ran a business, a rental car business, and they were going out of business. So he had these fleet of cars that he was selling to the church, and the church can just donate money. And they actually called them miracle cars. And this black dude was going from church to church, state to state, selling these cars that he had no title to, he had no right to. But people bought into it off of the fact that they saw him there in a suit, holding the Bible, shouting on Sunday. He fit into the culture, and people were susceptible to a scam. So when people started to pull at your damn heartstrings and all of that shit, y'all gotta run for the hills, man. Because the last thing I want to do, like, I feel terrible when I see people get scammed. That's probably why I like my job so much, because I represented so many sleaze bags, and I seen so many, like teachers who are 72 years old, their life savings is $200,000, and they lost it all because they invested it with some douchebag, and now the only thing they get back is 20 cent on the dollar. Like, that's terrible. You got $200,000 to your name in retirement. Your place paid off, or your place may not be paid off, but you only can recoup 20%, 20 cent on the dollar. Like, that's just terrible. So, you know, I tend to like see scammers getting thrown in jail personally, because it's terrible, especially when they steal from government programs. Because when they stealing from government programs, they stealing from everybody who pay taxes. If you pay taxes, they stealing from you. And I don't like. I respect the. I don't know if I told y'all, but I've been. I'm not gonna say I've been robbed a lot, but I've been robbed so much as a youth growing up, just being in crazy situations where if somebody robbed me and weren't doing it correctly, I would be like, "Hey, man, you too close to me with that gun. I can knock out. You may want to take a couple steps back." And so, but I can actually wrap my mind around respecting a criminal who commits an armed robbery. You know what I mean? I got a little bit more respect for that guy, even though a crime is a crime and it's terrible. But if a guy puts a gun up to you, they're going to make you go through the emotions of fear and panic and maybe anger. And whatever they get from you in that moment, if they don't harm you, you lost it in that moment, and chances are you could get it back. If they get your cash, if they get your wallet, your credit card, they could get that back. So, not that I'm condoning those type of crimes, but those type of crimes are less harmful to me when the victim isn't harmed physically, as opposed to a guy who got a Ponzi scheme, some insurance scammer. Like, with that pen, man, people do damage to your financial situation that'll impact you for a lifetime. If somebody break in your house and take your shit, you got insurance. Yeah, it's gonna suck ass, but you can get back on your feet. The insurance is kind of gonna get you whole. But if it's somebody who's smiling in your face with that pen, one, they don't even got they smile in your face, so you trust them. So you don't go through the anxiety of having something taken away. You feel like they're doing something for you. Then you realize on the back end, like, that shit is the worst. You lose your life savings. That shit don't impact you. It in fact impact your future generations. It probably impact what you could leave your loved ones when you pass away in your estate plan. So that shit is the worst. Like, I don't want to give nobody the options, but I would much rather you break in my house, take my shit, and don't harm anybody, presumably, because I might smoke your ass. But I would much rather that happen, because absent any physical harm. And of course, there's going to be a little emotional trauma there because everybody's not built to be in gun or around guns or anything like that. But that's a situation that's easier to recoup from financially as opposed to somebody committing fraud with a goddamn pen. Somebody commit fraud with that pen, that shit gonna jam you up for generations to come. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and ruin the movie Wakanda Forever for everybody. Talk a little bit about inflation and how we've been conditioned as youths because of the game of life. And that's why I played Hungry Hungry Hippo. It was no expectations, just good old times. Man, the games we played was terrible. But yo, I appreciate y'all jumping on with me this late night. This was some old random stuff. Hey, as always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. Have a good day. I'ma holler at y'all tomorrow. Y'all be blessed. Peace.